Didn't Bill Gates want to shoot something into the atmosphere or something along those lines?
Oh,
You described that in the book.
there've been all.
Some aerosols, or what was it?
Oh, that's not even that unusual. I mean, one of the
Oh, right.
believe it or not, yeah, one of the schemes that is being touted quite strongly is imitating a volcano by pumping lots of sulfur dioxide or similar chemicals into the atmosphere.
Is
Volcanoes.
that the Bill Gates idea?
I think that's one of his ideas, but people have been talking about this for a long time before.
Billionaire to the rescue, fantastic.
Yeah, but it's
Bruce
not.
Wayne.
Simulate volcanic eruptions. Big volcanic eruptions have a massive impact on the weather and the climate. So simulating volcano is not safe by any means.
Okay, but what's the reasoning behind it? Could you explain it a little bit?
Yeah, well,
if we simulate a volcano eruption, what happens to the climate?
Well, the gases, if you use sulfur gases, they reflect incoming solar radiation back into space, so they will cool the surface. But that's doing nothing about carbon dioxide. That's just treating a symptom. It doesn't bring down carbon dioxide. That has to be done as well. And if it isn't done as well, and you keep blocking the sunlight, when you eventually, for some reason, stop doing that, the temperature would just shoot up. It doesn't do anything about acidification of the oceans or anything like that. So it's a sticking plaster thing to address one symptom rather than anything else, and it's risky.
Could any of these geoengineering ideas actually work? Any of the ones that you heard of? What about those? There was an idea about freezing the poles again or something, right?
Well, it's creating clouds over the poles, cooling them down, protecting them from sunlight. But you don't, doing these things at massive scale is just is beyond us, or would be extremely costly and probably environmentally damaging. And they're all experiments. I mean, human-caused climate change is an experiment. The last thing we want are more experiments messing things up even further. So it also stamps over everybody's human rights. I mean, I don't want them to do that. Do I have any say in whether geoengineering happens or not? Who says it can go ahead? Who makes that decision? It's just it's a whole can of worms that we shouldn't be opening if we just slashed emissions as we need to do.
So any of these ideas would actually be another known unknown with unforeseeable side effects.
Absolutely. Probably, I mean, you will get people who support them saying, "Oh, we've modelled it and everything's fine." But funnily enough, I don't trust them. That's just
fair enough.
Everybody's not going to say, "Oh, all right, then we believe you. Let's do it." I mean, why would you do that?
At the end, Professor McGuire, could you offer us any sort of glimmer of hope? Wherever you can find it, if you can find it, but let's pretend you can find it.
Well, I mean, it's happening too slowly. But if I look around me here, where I live in the Peak District in England, I mean, my house is powered by biomass. I've got solar panels. The rest of our electricity comes from a green energy tariff. I drive an electric car. When I go down to the station in a minute to get a train, I'll drive past wind farms. None of that would have been possible 10 years ago. So there is change. Change is happening, and there has been an enormous amount of change. It just needs to be accelerated far, far more so that we can actually tackle the emergency.